Can we have quickly around this introduction?
Yeah, I'm Nitin, Bhardwaj, co-founder of GOQuik. We are in the space for the last 2 years now, and we are a product omni-channel presence.
Of course.
I am Dhruv, founder of the Pant project. We make custom-made pants for men and women. D2C brand started 18 months ago.
Hi everyone, I'm Sneh here, co-founder of the Baker's Dozen. We are today one of India's largest artisan bakery brands present across 28 cities and across omni-channel, across any platform that you can think of.
Hi, I'm Aditya. I'm the co-founder of Beco. We are India's first eco-friendly natural home care and personal care brand.
Hi, I'm Neha. I'm founder of Ruia. It started out as a lingerie brand, but today it's a complete women's lifestyle brand. We've extended into loungewear, activewear, as well as personal care. So basically, a brand that's intimate with girls.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is Vikas. I'm at P6. Anything under puberty to menopause for women. Yeah.
Great, Vikas.
I am Gaurav, where I got flow matches for a direct consumer solution.
Namaste everybody. Lunch ke baad dhyan bhul gaya. So I'm Robin from Valley Culture India, and we are bringing you Himalayan food in a bottle. So all the Himalayan indigenous producers and food working with a lot of farmers. We're a D2C brand from Dehradun. I think
Hi, I'm Jam from GoQuik. Our goal is to make people healthy and fit and use technology for all of that. That is the present, but next couple of months we're going to be in the metaverse. We'll have a digital twin, we talk about that. Nice to meet you all.
Great. Welcome everyone. I'll just quickly brief about at least some bit about us and the topic, etc., and why the topic. So we are at least I'll quickly tell you from where I come from. So I used to run the Bombay shaving company brand this. So that's where it all started, and I had no plans to do this startup. Then as and when you decide certain things, there's always a Murphy law sitting somewhere. So COVID happened, and I think we all saw what happened to e-commerce. I was privy to some first-party data which gave me confidence that in India e-commerce will expand outside of Amazon, Flipkart also, and we know how D2C has expanded over the last 24 months. Right, so at least what my realization was when I started out to build GoKwik was that if e-commerce is supposed to happen outside of Amazon, Flipkart, there is going to be at least when I spoke to consumers, I realized that the shopping experience is not the same. And to give you a parallel, let's say if you were in US and you were to learn to drive a car, and then suddenly you were transported to India, you will suddenly realize that you actually don't know how to drive. Similar experience was happening to customers when they were beginning their journeys on Amazon, Flipkart, and when they went to the non-Amazon, non-Flipkart world. I'm talking about the large vertical marketplaces to consumer brands. They realized that a lot of shopping experiences broken, suboptimal at multiple points, leading to people again going back to Amazon, Flipkart, not trusting, etc., etc. And when I went deeper, I realized that to solve for this shopping experience, you would need a company to solve for or build out a tech data science layer, which can power this world. So that's what we are building for. From a vision point of view, we are building a shopping experience company, which is trying to democratize shopping experience. But from a DNA point of view or from an internal point of view, it's a tech data science layer, which is trying to help all of these merchants grow their GMV and solve some of these very tedious, difficult problems. I'm sure you are in different phases of your journey. For example, I'm sure Ruia would have seen much more than some of the other ones. And we generally wanted to discuss that, okay, how has technology played a role? And what are the gaps you still see? What are the problems you still see in terms of solving for it? So that's largely the agenda and the context which I want to do. Anyone wants to open in terms of technology being an enabler, player, problems, etc., etc. Happy to open the code before you get into a formal questioning.
Okay, I'll go first. Awkward silence. I think, as I said in my panel before, that D2C is relatively a new term. When we started out, we used to describe ourselves as a brand that is completely driven by tech. It's a data-based brand that is where the decisions are so speedy, which would typically take a traditional brand anywhere between 3 months to even up to a year to deliberate. So a lot of, so much to an extent that I wouldn't even call our initial journey as a designer-led product journey. We did not really have so many designers as we had engineers. So a lot of, so we collected a lot of first-party data. So today we have 500K users, girls, very intimate data about their body shapes. When we started, we realized that in India, sizing is based on what US Army did some research for when women were inducted in US Army, and that's the sizing being used. I don't know, Dhruv, maybe your experience is similar, but that's what the sizing has been used even in India. So we iterated quite a bit the kind of data we collected, how busts are shaped. Even I did not know that there is so much dissimilarity. We women come in so many shapes and sizes. So that's how our initial fits were iterated on and finalized completely basis that.
And how do you? So this is very at least insightful. And I have at least read about this a lot, that even in airline, the seats are designed for men, not for women. So taking cue from you, what you said, that even in women, somebody would have thought that, okay, this is how it is supposed to be.
Yeah, even the packaging, the way it was sold, etc. Everything was, and the entire, I mean, today, Ruia is also CEO is a guy, but then the industry was completely run by men, the entire supply chain.
And taking a little deeper, that one is data collection, wherein you deploy technology, then capture a lot of data. How have you invested in technologies wherein you have built out data warehouses, data lakes? Because that's where it starts to become.
That's just one part, but we deploy technology on different aspects. I think one thing which you also spoke about, the customer experience. That was also completely driven by, so we built our brand on Ruia.com first, rather than on marketplaces. We were present on marketplaces because our thesis was business will feed the brand and later on brand will feed the business. So sales came first. So we went live on Jabong, that time Jabong was Jabong, Myntra and so on. But we continue to invest our energies and resources on Ruia.com. So it's a complete 100% direct to customer experience that we built on. So one was customer experience, post-purchase and pre-purchase both. So a lot of, between 2013 when our journey began and 2015 when the brand was launched, and until very recently, till 2 years back, a lot of these modules that are now natural and a lot of, they are present on SaaS models were not present. So for example, we built our own WMS, which was optimized for e-commerce. We built our own customer care ticketing because we wanted to do fit consulting, etc. We built our own checks to figure out who is likely to do RTO, etc. So a lot of these things we built in-house, and now we are outsourcing as well on new models, but different assets.
Very insightful. Just to clarify, you started with direct to consumer first, then went to marketplace.
No, we started on both simultaneously, but we invested our energy and resource more on Ruia.com because that's where we thought the growth is, that's where we'll build the brand, and that was the source of our information, our engagement with customer. Because in marketplaces, you only get as much.
And has that view changed with, let's say, some of the newer energy?
No, I can really resonate with Neha's comments that Pant project started and to date is 100% D2C on pantproject.com only. And the idea is to control the customer experience at the foundational stage of building a brand. From a data perspective, what Neha was saying on fit, we are in a manufacturing business, in our family business. we made for large brands. And something we found is nobody is really making for the fit of an Indian man or Indian woman. I faced that problem personally. Play a lot of sports, larger thighs. I had to wait, get pants tailored with a tailor or go abroad. From a data perspective, first we crunched a lot of data that we have from existing brands that we made for. But the real tech solution, we haven't really found a good one at it yet, is how do you size someone virtually? Every tool we've looked at is more inaccurate than them measuring themselves. And all we're doing now is an algorithm that will best guess your fit based on the measurements you give us. And we have like 36 different block patterns that we'll slip you into and then custom make it according to yours. Other points too on tech at an operating level. So everyone talks in a direct-to-consumer brand about consumer-facing tech, but there's huge challenges on making the operating model more efficient using tech. So I mean factory-level tech that lets you deliver faster, make the production process more efficient, cost-efficient, and accurate. And then from a CRM and analytics perspective, we're using a software now called Zeno that's giving us like insight into which customers to retarget, how to retarget, better retention marketing, who to send a WhatsApp to, who to call to, someone who's likely to shop every 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, what they're likely to buy, affinity for one category versus multiple categories, answering those sort of questions with data. And lastly, like you guys are doing in your operating model, reduce RTO, reduce fraud, reduce all of these using tech. So I think I break it down into 2 tech challenges. One is a consumer tech challenge, and that's figuring out sizing, figuring out customer experience through tech. And the other often overlooked one is an operating tech challenge. And that's really fun. Yeah.
Well, I resonate with that. I think I was speaking to February founder as well. In terms of sizing and giving that experience online is a challenge which still exists across all fashion segments, which also leads to down the stream a lot of RTO returns, which never makes our P&L healthier.
And Dhruv, how do you ensure that with customizing, the scale is maintained? Because as you go very deep into customizing, the sales, the scale always comes down.
Yeah, honestly, I think the advantage is we're a manufacturing first business. It's hard to custom make at scale. And I actually think that's a moat for this business. If you want to launch any other para brand, if you have capital or brand story, you can find a contract manufacturer and launch it. Now, how do you do this successfully at scale? I think the market for custom made is actually deep enough. We're not a made to measure brand, we're a custom made brand. And the difference there is it's your waist size, and then it's our best interpretation of a slim fit, tapered fit, or relaxed fit. It's your inseam length and a few other customization options. But not every measurement of the pant is as per your waist. And so that makes it a scalable model. Our goal is to have more and more people shop custom made as opposed to buy something at Zara or Uniqlo, something of the sort. And it's to do it with more sophistication than if you had to go to a local tailor, spend time there, limited range of fabrics, no laser cutting, no sort of AutoCAD software, all of that. So I think the scale challenges in any personalized business are huge, but that's actually a competitive advantage if you can figure it out for the long term.
Because how have you been silently watching your business grow, and how have you thought about it since the starting? That is it going to be marketplace first? Because and why I am asking this is because if it is direct to consumer first, largely on website first, then you would want to invest more on tech. A simple website won't do, hence hiring becomes challenging, etc. etc. How do you thought about it?
We were always like Ruia. We started selling on pizza.com, and after that slowly we built up on marketplaces. But we were talking about subject which is taboo, right? So we use a lot of our customer care for an outbound call. So we use a lot of CRM. If you talk about tech, so we had a lot of data. When a person is getting into a chumming, and when she wants to order her new stuff, the next stuff. If she has got a period cramp relief roll on, when she expects to buy a new one. So we have used data and technology there. But overall, apart from this, I think we just collected data on our website, and we have rigged it that when they want to buy it again. That's the only data we have used if we talk about our.
And so I think both of you mentioned, Ruia and you, that you started with guided assistant sale, right? Have you seen tech developments there wherein some amount of that can be now moved to a productized solution, or it still continues to be a more guided sale, or have you seen consumer getting involved?
So our product is like more intimate, right? So it's got about menstrual cups. So you need someone to talk about it, how to use it, what are different folds, and also really tech isn't is not helping there, right? So the product is as such. We really need personalization. Of course, I think you did great that you have developed something that you can do sizing, but for us, we have to talk to people because we have to make them use. Because penetration is only 20%, right? So we have to be on the ground, talk to people. So technology will definitely come in place, but at this moment we are I think also do on technology. So when you talk about research.
So I think we're seeing very new features, at least on the beauty and personal care side, wherein you're able to flaunt how is this lipstick, etc. going to look.
I wish I can do it on the sanitary pads.
That's a tough one.
So we would like to know experiences of other people that.
Valley Culture is basically a fairly new brand. I mean, we are in a very naive stage. It's got a seed funding. Thank you, everybody. So, my segment is basically traditional food, right? Himalayan food. And when you're talking about the consumer side of technology, it's obviously capturing the data of how often are people buying, what is that bestseller product people are looking for. But what we want to focus on is the other side. When on the villages, you don't really have that kind of electricity or technology available. So our focus is basically becoming where how do we even understand the kind of inventory these farmers are giving out. So we are using WhatsApp right now. There are around 3,000, 4,000 farmers from 13 different districts of Uttarakhand. So we keep getting WhatsApp all day long. So it's all scattered. So there's not really a way that we found to kind of, we found our warehousing. If you talk about warehousing, we found our warehousing solutions. Saman aa gaya warehousing store. But how do we kind of, on an active basis, create something where these farmers, without the use of a lot of technology intervention, kind of update us, this is what I've grown, this is the seasonality, this is when the best time of the yield is coming out, so that we also know when to market it out. So this is as a new brand, what we are kind of still figuring out. On the consumer end, it's almost, I think it's almost the same for everybody. All of us want to understand what the consumer wants, when they want it, and how can we kind of deliver it when they want it. So I guess
So I think at Ruia, this was which I didn't mention when I spoke of technology. At Ruia, this was one big win we had. So in a business like ours or other businesses, there are only two levers: marketing and inventory. If you mess with any of them, then you're not going to survive the next season. So for us, we had at that time maybe lesser, but eventually today we have 90 plus factories making our 5,000 plus options, styles, 70,000 SKUs, about 1 million garments every month spread across. So how do you keep track? And you need an army of merchants tracking, and because we do contract manufacturing, quality is controlled by us. So you need an army of quality people. Quality team is large, but then you need to optimize, like you're saying. So we built, from customer side, we built a demand projection algorithm, which helped us figure out what will sell when, because in India, it's a multitude of market, different climates, preference, sizes, etc. Size is not the only factor actually. And then seasons. So we built which obviously learned, it took us few years, but now it's pretty good. So now our failure rate is down to decimals now. Any new option that we launch will get sold in the quantity that is now. So about, even at this scale, 80% plus inventory of ours is less than 75 days old. The rest is in that movement of RDO, etc. On the other side, we built a production planning kind of a planner for our team, small team of merchants, to see which is what is working where. And then we built an app, very simple app, like a light app for our vendors, which is only visual, because many of our vendors don't read well. So it's all picture based, where our quality team updates, like you're saying, picture. This is on the line, this is reject, this is the PO, that's all. So that's how we solve this problem very early on, and that helped us keep our inventory in check and well optimized, and no dead, no debts there.
So we are running a
home care brand. So that actually, to answer Chirag's question, is a primarily marketplace first sort of a category, because if you want to buy a Harpic, you wouldn't go to the website to sort of purchase it, right? Like you add it to your basket on an Amazon big basket, or now the 10-minute quick commerce. So marketplace has formed a large part of our business, and I think that will continue to do so. However, coming to tech on D2C, I think what Mr. Bagaria will also be doing probably would be subscriptions, which I think are more applicable to us, where it's obviously difficult to gauge on how, I was talking to Kaushik from Sugar, and they were doing subscriptions before, and I don't know if they're doing now, but it's like if you use toothpaste every day, you don't know when it's going to finish, and hence you don't want to overstock it or understock it today. So I think quick commerce is also finishing subscriptions, because subscriptions, the ease was you don't have to remember. But with quick commerce, you're happy to forget it also, because you're getting it in 10 minutes. It's faster than sending someone and getting it yourself. So I don't know how subscriptions will play out. I think subscription enablement like Recopay and a couple of these guys are doing a good job. But I mean, I think yeah, for us, marketplace is really important, and D2C will only be active in subscriptions. We're not sure on how it's going to play out with Zeptos and Blinkit and Instamart sort of doing that.
So are you seeing traction on platforms like Zepto?
Oh yeah, it's going. I mean, we're seeing almost 100% growth month on month, because also they're investing a lot on the consumer side of the business. But I mean, it's a no-brainer for most people here also that you would rather buy from a quick commerce than anywhere else. Like I wouldn't buy from an Amazon if it's available on any of these channels. I think that's true for most people.
Because do you see, because your category is such that there is a very definite repeatability is quite certain.
Predictable.
Do you see that their adoption happening in terms of subscription?
In quick commerce or subscription?
Overall as subscriptions.
Subscription, we tried, we failed, because India subscription doesn't work. Because of the banking norms and all of stuff, they try to solve it. But I think subscription is not working for us, and I've seen many other businesses.
Is it a technology challenge or it's a consumer challenge?
No, it's a both. It's both. Because sometimes people are not there to accept it, people don't want to give advance payment. COD is a definitely challenge because it comes unannounced. So it's both. I think in India, subscription will work. We tried very hard, we invested a lot of money. Because it's a CPG, consumer packaged good. Just like toothpaste, अगर अब खत्म हो गया आप उसको लेना ही लेना. Just like all our products. It would not.
I last checked, I think the marketplace even diapers, which is globally proven to be a very subscription.
Oh yeah, diapers, it wouldn't work.
But it doesn't.
India doesn't pay for convenience.
Even
they don't pay for convenience. They would pay for many things, but not for. They won't save time. They would save money.
Cost within it. So India doesn't want to lock in like 25%.
That's so that you don't overstock the rent.
So the 10-minute commerce, quick commerce is again, I would buy because I don't need anything in them, to be honest with you. But there are some times when a housemaker may need something, in terms of cooking or something like that. But I don't want to stock. Say for example, your home product, I don't want to stock it, and I don't want to call it 10 minutes. Whenever I'm buying my monthly grocery, I can add it to the basket. So Amazon big basket also. It's all. But yes, people, Gen Zs of course, because they have a 3-second window, so they want to buy it.
Thank God, target market is
Actually, just to add on the tech part, and I think what we have seen, we are in a perishable business, right? So for us, the tech challenge was twofold. There is a front end, which I think the ecosystem overall has solved to a lot of extent, right? The consumer facing, the CRM part, etc. But I think what you were mentioning about the operational tech, right? One, it has to be very industry specific. So like for us, for example, we are again manufacturing, and for us, ideally we would like to track each and every unit. What stage is it in terms of expiry? Is it stuck somewhere? Can I move it? And actually, we have worked with Logibricks as a partner to develop our in-house ERP over a year. It took us just that much time to understand that how do we track each SKU as it's going through the country. Now, those challenges generally is not being solved at an ecosystem level. Front-end challenges generally, those are available. But I think as a brand matures, the operational tech becomes more important. Right? Many times, new founders like they come like website app is not tech. Right? Today, those solutions are very easily available, but operational tech is what actually keeps the business running in.
Yeah, the horizontal SaaS layer in India is well built out, and everyone's trying to build horizontal SaaS. Not enough founders building vertical SaaS, and vertical SaaS needs industry commitment and expertise. And so, like you said, we built our own ERP in-house that tracks every order from the moment it's placed to it's in custom pattern making. You know, it's in stitching, it's in cutting, it's in QC, it's in washing, every stage till dispatch. That took us a year, like you said, to build in-house, and we're still barcoding, improving it every day. And then even after you get that, fabric consumption efficiency, how do you get more efficient? Speed, okay, it took us 7 days, 5 days, 3 days. Only an apparel player could build that, and it's not very useful for other industries. Now, if I have to do it for automotive, it's another challenge to do all over again. So who's building vertical SaaS? And vertical SaaS markets are deep enough. Like, you can do it for one apparel player, do it for other apparel players, it's a large enough market.
Okay, let me give you that perspective, because our challenge is quite different. We've got lakhs of users logging on to opening our app and using it 8 times a day, 10 times a day, 12 times a day. And I don't know if many of you know that we have a store within the app which has more than 30,000 users, and we get another 10,000. So, but I believe a lot of people in this room are like, because they're getting started and they want some ideas on how to build this whole tech piece. It's not necessarily as difficult as you think it is when you're getting started. There are off-the-shelf tools that you can easily use like Power BI and Google Data Studio that I would highly recommend. Exploit them. Just get onto YouTube, just see what these tools can do for you, because they're very, very powerful. And even in a, like a 9-year-old, 8-9-year-old company like ours, with so much of data flowing in on a day-to-day basis, we keep constantly evolving on Power BI and Data Studio just to reorganize all the data that keeps coming in and see what more can we do with it. And I would highly encourage you to do that.
You're saying not only from a scaled up startup, but also you can start with sophisticated tools as Power BI, etc. Because we have seen the opposite, wherein anyone who's starting out, we actually have to give some knowledge sessions on Google Analytics. So Power BI is something which is not DIY, which you have to configure. But what's been your?
So so Power BI also is constantly evolving depending on what is your life cycle, where's your company going today, right? And the good thing is, with this whole tech piece, tech is being used constantly. It's been around for ages. But what happens is with tech, we gather data. And it's how you use that data and how you decipher that data to use it in the right manner and not waste your time with the wrong data is you need Power BI and stuff to help you organize and reorganize and look at the data through different points, because it's all about input and output, right? You put in certain input, you get a certain output, you try that, you fail, you put in different input, you try another output, and you will find success. You will find something that works, but you've just got to organize the data in the right manner.
Maybe I have seen similar, or at least starting stages. At least I found it very, very difficult. Now, of course, at GoKwik we use a lot of Power BI. Because of the volumes of data we get, we can't even handle on any other platform. But I think if I recollect my days with Bombay Shaving Company and some of the other brands I speak to, I think adoption in terms of, or maybe a simpler Power BI tool is probably what I felt earlier. Anyone who's at the starting stages.
Basically, ours is an absolutely different story. We the retail first brand. As in first category, we were completely started through retail only. First 3 months was completely into experimental stage, and then when we got to expand ourselves to the entire pan India presence, then COVID happened. And then we were forced to start the D2C side of our business. Then we invested in our own GOQii.com, and then we started selling, and we have shown the power of the data, that directly speaking to the consumers, directly getting the consumer response, and then there only we were correcting the recipes, the new products also. We were deciding to direct talking to the consumers. So that really helped us, and with that power, actually, we were able to expand ourselves within COVID time to the retail presence as well. And data is absolutely like a lot of wonders, but then using the data in the right manner. lot of data is also a danger if you are not using in a right manner. So that's how even scaling it to thing, we actually need the tech. Otherwise, people having experiences like our platforms like Zepto, Instamart, Swiggy, Blinkit, so they are actually growing faster, way faster than our GM's cocktail. The reason is because we are giving supplies in 3 to 4 days of time, but they are delivering it in 10 minutes. So using that tech, but yes, we are getting sales from there, but not the right data. So that we can get the right insights and to scale ourselves further. So we are actually using our tech, investing in the tech, so that we can have a dark stores and different kind of stores. Because we have our presence in every city with our distributors and even our retailers. So we can use the tech very efficiently, and then also using tech we can deliver our products in a very short span of time, and we can grow ourselves further with GM's cocktail. While the size of GM's cocktail is bigger than the platforms, but the platforms is growing faster than the cocktail.com. So the thing is, using tech, definitely if you want to scale further, you need to have a usage of tech.
Alright, thank you. I think one more thing which got touched upon is that I think which every brand or every CPG brand goes through is the demand generation or demand prediction capability. Right? While earlier you have a lot of margin for error, you can of course stop more because you don't want to have to take multiple warehouses. But how have let's say scaled up brands seen the journey of demand generation capabilities? Have you built in-house or any other tools which are there which you globally use, or do you still rely on let's say some amount of Excel mapping, some rudimentary models, or have you evolved to something very sophisticated? Because as he mentioned, I think in a lot of consumer brand businesses where you have a physical good, inventory will become one of the levers of how you are financially performing. Right? That's one of the key matrices. But maybe you want to take a shot first.
I have only 6 SKUs. So.
No, but in terms of let's say how much is your inventory holding period?
Yeah, I can just. Our inventory holding period is about 3 months. Because we actually sell GoQuik as a service and not as a brand. So if you actually buy a service and I'm the wrong person to ask this question. I have only 6 SKUs for GoQuik.
I'd say one way of solving the problem is to try to hold as little inventory as you can, and we consciously chose a custom-made model for that reason. We're now holding inventory at a fabric level, and the order comes, we make the garment. Typical problem in fashion is you end up producing a lot of garments, you can't sell all of them, slash pricing, try to get rid of dead stock. And so supply chain wise, the closer you can have supply to demand, shorter production cycle, that helps you solve a lot of prediction problems. And for us, the other problem is like trend forecasting. So what's going to be in, what's not going to be in. One way of solving that, we're trying to build a timeless fashion brand. So I think with inventory, firstly avoiding the problem, or like trying to get away around not even having to predict it is the best. But if you can't get around it, and you're in a category like cocktails where you need to stock something, I think the best way to do it is try to get as responsible in the manufacturing. And so again, as I said, I think most of the solutions people come up with are consumer facing, whereas the actual root cause is that it takes you really long once you know someone wants something to top up demand, and so you have to wait 3 months, and so you need 3 months of inventory. If you could produce it in 5 days, you just need 5 days of inventory.
So we have about 25 SKUs right now, and at a time when we're doing about 30,000-40,000 orders a month. So I don't think so inventory planning is that big a challenge, because like you said, even Excel at times works, right? And we are using SAP on our operational end to be able to cater to that. I think what it does not accommodate for is sales velocity and growth. So we shifted from a 15,000 order cycle to a 30,000 order cycle in a matter of 2.5-3 months. And that possibly created a huge delta in what the inventory planning was showing versus what actually was being sold. So we ran out of stock outs across channels, across D2C obviously, and credit items were delayed and all of that. So I don't think that inventory planning, I mean from what I've seen from other brands, maybe it's a start of the phase problem. Maybe once you get to your closer to a post 10-15 crore ARR, that sort of gets sorted out. But I don't think so it accommodates the ads that you're running on the front end to be able to. I think that's going to be really the delta here, because if they can predict truly on what your growth has been, given that the ads that you're running, and then help you predict inventory, I think that's going to be very, very unique as a proposition. From a pure inventory play, I think most supply chain managers and founders have an idea on what's selling and how. And obviously, as the SKU range increases, it becomes increasingly difficult, obviously, for most, even for PCF, I assume that because the SKU sort of range, right, like the width of the SKU range, that it becomes difficult. But I think just to be able to predict on growth, on how it makes the delta, I think most founders would love that as an option rather than pure play inventory predicting. Because I think that's still simple. I think that's just a math play, current stock, existing stock, sales forecast and things like that. So just the growth, accommodating growth in this equation is unique.
Because your bases are, not the way to look at it. So you can always go through.
Yeah, I mean, my last month my last quarter is not a good predictor of my this month at all. So
the opportunity size to go after is much larger.
Correct. And the reason why D2C brands exist is purely because of the growth, right? So if we don't do that well, I don't think like anything of this sort of makes sense. Right? So I think growth and of course the unit economics is the factor to be considered.
I think you rightly pointed out. I remember my days when I asked this question is that at Bombay Shaving Company also, this demand gen meeting was one of the most dreaded ones, because you get in and you have so many SKUs, and then one side you have production team, second time you have demand team. They're saying मुझे ये चाहिए, ये नहीं मिलेगा, इसका lead time इतना है, etc. etc. I'm sure you would be going through something. But is there a tool which you use? How do you go about it?
Generally, I go a very conventional way. I go to my manufacturer and say कि मुझे 10,000 पीस चाहिए, क्या प्राइस है, 20,000 पीस का क्या प्राइस है. So I go for that economics. That's one, because you save because see, you can't make money while selling, but you can make money while purchasing. So first and foremost, funders who good businessmen like me will understand purchase में अपना. So first we do that, and then of course because we are omni-channel, so we use Bizom, which is the sales force, which collect data, tertiary data, then secondary and primary data. So we know what is coming from the offline. And for online, everyone works with the same format, like us on a scale, Excel sheet, demand generation meeting, R&D meeting, marketing, if you're launching something, what you need. So that's all in-house capability. We're using Keyword and other stuff. So we're not using that much of technology, but काम चलता है अच्छे से और projection अच्छे से होगा. Let's stop.
Related to this, I think what Vikas has said is absolutely right, because we are also omni-channel presence and we are also using third-party app for our sales team. We get the tertiary and offtake data and secondary data, and now we know like which SKU is contributing how much percentage, and with that, using that thing, we use our forecasting for 3 months. We have a rolling forecasting model using our tech. That's how it is. We don't have any stock with us which is paid for us.
Yes, I want to say that we have the D2C and scaling goes okay in your management, but your raw material, like in our case, milk suppliers, they will plan on 12 months. So you may say, okay, green cotton will move this week, but they are not made. Green cotton is not going to get made for another.
Fabric production lead time.
So therefore, you need to plan, tell them in advance. Our raw material planning also needs to be.
You are absolutely right, because using a different kind of flavors and aspects in the model. So we need 10 to 12 different ingredients which goes out into.
Yeah.
And the lead time of that raw material is 3 months to 6 months. And but because we have seen the trend of every SKU, so that we can actually use the forecasting, which is almost like 80 to 90% accurate. Basis that. Or we can also plan in that way, like if we have built this, we have made this, so we can, using that tech, we can actually plan this, like which scheme on which SKUs is how much. So tech is really enabler for everything.
Interesting, I think. Thank you. I've been told that I've consumed the time.
It's also the sponsor.
It's your privilege today.
You're also the sponsor, so.
Thank you so much. We are all, at least, I am personally, I come from this space, so I understand some of the challenges. I want to truly cheer all of you what you're building, and want to be true partners in, I keep telling everyone that treat us as your tech data science team, and whatever difficulties come your way, we have to at least look at it, jam with you, even if we are not able to solve, get you to some newer tools which are there available globally. So that's how we look at it. And I am personally a big fan of buying direct to consumer, seeing some of these new age brands thrive. And thank you so much for sparing time and doing this. Thank you very much. This is very exciting.